Yeah, we can start, Mayor.
Okay. Well, I'd like to welcome everybody today on this Thursday, April the 30th, and to a special city council meeting. And welcome everybody. Looks like we have all the council present and some of the staff. So we welcome all of you. I guess we'll move right into our agenda. Scott?
Yes, thank you. Let me give some background. Probably the last 14 days, 13 days. Oh, sorry. Mayor, Kathy says we need a roll call.
Okay, we'll do a roll call. Councilmember Jensen,
Here.
Councilmember Bullock,
Here.
Councilmember Williams,
Here.
Councilmember Anderson,
Here.
and Councilmember Lamone.
Here.
Okay, we have a roll call of all the council people. Do you need any additional ones that are on, Scott?
I don't think so, just council.
Okay.
That felt like second grade all over again. That was kind of fun.
Bueller. Bueller.
Okay, so this is, I think, understood, but I do want to kind of talk through this. This is a super fluid situation. We are trying to work hand in hand with what's happening at the state level. So the governor's office and the state health department really dictate a lot of what we can or can't do. 13 days ago, Governor Herbert suggested that the state would move towards looking at going to orange on the risk assessment through the Utah Healthy Together, I think is what it's called. If you've read the document or seen the document, it has 4 different levels for our state: red, orange, yellow, and green. We are currently in red. Even as of today, we are in red. And red has certain restrictions, which is gatherings of 10 or less, social distancing required, 6 feet. Restaurants can't serve indoors, things like that. The governor announced that 13 days ago. What that set into motion for us as cities was trying to determine really our recreation facilities, our swim pools, our playground, parks and playgrounds, and our programming, so our youth sports and our adult sports. The Utah League set up committees to look into each of that. We've participated in that. In fact, I was the chair of the swim pool committee as we were trying to figure out our regulations. Also in line with that was the Utah Parks and Recreation Association was working kind of on a parallel track, trying to determine what this looks like if we are able to open these facilities up. Tyler and Brett have been heavily involved on the URPA side of things, really trying to formulate the rules and the safety precautions and the protocols and all these things. And so that's been our last 13 days. 6 days ago, so Friday last week, is when the governor again just kind of reconfirmed that we would likely go to orange, and then on Tuesday he confirmed we were going to orange on starting this Friday. And this is now a directive. It's an order now. It's no longer a directive, which I don't know how much that really changes, but that's what we're being told. As we as cities have been evaluating opening rec centers and swim pools, we've had about 1,000 questions. We've been in contact with the state health department trying to get some feedback. We have received some feedback, but we haven't had all of our questions answered because we feel there is some conflicting things in the document. And just a couple of them would be, if we go to orange, when we go to orange tomorrow, we can now have groups of 20 or less. Social distancing is still required, but we can now gather. But still have social distancing. But then it has recommendations for really different types of businesses. So whether it's restaurants or hair salons or whatever. And there's a section in there that deals specifically with fitness centers and gyms. And then there's just one little comment on swim pools, and we'll kind of talk about that and what that means. And so what we feel the conflict is if we open our rec center and we have 100 people in there, that's a gathering. And you're telling us we can't have more than 20, but we're going to have more than 100 in our rec center. Give us some guidance. I mean, are we okay there? And then probably the bigger issue is more of a swim pool, where they tell us, well, you can't gather more than 20, but if we open up our pool, which they said we could do at half capacity, that means we'd have 350 people. That's half capacity for us. Full capacity is about 700. Half capacity is 350. So now we have 350 in a confined space, where social distancing probably isn't even really feasible in a swim pool. So these are all the questions we have, and we keep kicking it back to the state. The state, in some ways, is deferred to the county health departments. My understanding down in Washington County, St.
Based with them, we've had conversations, and they want to clarify some of the things that you already mentioned. Some reports that might be conflicting, so they want to get back to us.
Okay, so we're still seeking guidance on the interpretation of some of these things, just so we have our bases covered. But as a city, in essence, I think we have some decisions to make and see what we're comfortable with. So that's what led to my document, and most of my document I've just pulled right off of the directives from the state. So it talks about the groups and 20 or fewer, talks about public space and what we need to do if we're going to open up public space. And then where it gets to the gyms and fitness centers, let me share my screen so we can all follow along here. Okay, can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So where it gets to gyms and fitness centers, the stuff that's in bold, that was in bold in the document. And this is, so they said this is under the orange level, which we're going to tomorrow. Gyms and fitness centers, recommended closure of fitness centers and gyms. If open, fitness centers and gyms should follow strict distancing and cleaning guidance, and then it gives us the bullet points on what that means. And so that, we feel like we're getting some conflicting information from the state in the sense that we have the governor telling everybody, hey, gyms are going to be open. And then we have this document saying, we're recommending that fitness centers and gyms stay closed. So that's just part of this. So as I put these things together and as I formulated my recommendation for you, I generally tend to lean a little bit on the conservative side. And if the state's recommended under orange that we stay closed, that's what is stemming from my recommendation. The other part of that is, and Mayor, maybe you can go a little bit more into details. My understanding is the mayors of American Fork and Lehigh had a conversation a few days ago with an understanding of let's have the three of us on the same page as we proceed with our rec centers and our swim pools, and into which they directed the city managers to sit down and kind of think through that. So Mayor, do you want to give a little background on that?
Yeah, they were concerned, you know, we thought all the mayors were going to be on board throughout the county, but then we found when some of our discussions, Zoom meetings, Provo just wanted to strike out and do their own thing, which there may be some political stuff there going on. But anyway, so anyway, especially Lehigh and American Fork, they were all concerned that we kind of all stayed on the same page. And so we weren't inflicting pain on one or all of us by doing something that we weren't all agreeable with altogether. So that's, and I told them that's where we would go. And so with the city, and so they went back to their, like I say, Scott said, to the city managers and the rec directors, and said let's all work together here. So that's where we're at, and that's what I hope that you guys will agree with that. because I've kind of committed to that. So that's where we're at.
Let me give a little more information as of about an hour ago. And this, I'm telling you, this is how fluid these situations are. I tried to call Provo this morning to say, hey, you know, because they were planning on opening on Monday, swim pool and rec center. They have an indoor pool. And so I was going to ask him what Utah County is. Utah County signed off on you guys opening your pool. And I just got a text back about a half hour ago that said that they're reevaluating. There's a chance they might not open up their pool and rec center until they go to the yellow, until the governor moves it from orange to yellow. So we haven't had a chance to talk, and I guess I need to be careful. I don't want to make announcements for Provo, but I want us to understand that there's a chance Provo might not be opening on Monday.
Well, that's pool. That's pool, right?
I think it's the rec center too.
So have you heard from like
sorry.
Spanish Fork or
No, sorry.
Springville?
Sorry. That was just pool, Todd.
Okay.
That wasn't. I don't think that's rec center. I think that was just pool.
Yeah,
Scott,
I
have you heard from,
think we got to make sure we keep rec center pool different.
Two separate conversations.
Yeah, I mean,
Two separate conversations.
right.
I tried to reach out to Springville. They're making their decision tomorrow. They do have a rec center and an indoor pool. He said they're probably in the same boat we are. They're thinking through it right now. He said they probably won't open in the next 2 weeks is what his comment was, but they'll be making a decision tomorrow. So again, I guess I need to be
Scott.
careful in an open meeting. I don't want to make announcements for other cities, but all cities are trying to evaluate this. Both Lehigh and American Fork had city council meetings Tuesday night, and they both decided to wait 2 more weeks and then reevaluate whether they were going to open up their rec center.
Scott, what's the reasoning behind the 2 weeks? Why not a week? Why not 3 days? Like, why is it a full 2 weeks?
I think people want to see the data of whether we're going to see a change in the numbers of the spread of the virus as we slowly open up the economy. And
Scott,
I think that's what's driving it.
Scott, how do they respond to the fact that Utah County's numbers keep going up? In fact,
Well, I mean, I was reading the document this morning from the Utah County Health Department, and we're trending higher
Yes.
percentage-wise than other places right now. And I don't know, there's not enough detail to know exactly why that is. I don't know if for now we're finally getting more testing in Utah County than what we've had in the past, and if that's what's driving it, but I'm not sure what the data points mean.
last night on the news, they showed Summit, Wasatch, Salt Lake, and Utah County. All of those counties, with the exception of Utah, the numbers have been going down, and we have gone up and just about matches Salt Lake now. And I'm wondering,
Brent, are you talking about? Help me understand the statistics here. Are you talking about new cases?
positive cases, and I'm wondering how the governor decided to change and the color to open up all of this, and yet Utah County, and it was interesting. They said Utah County is the only county that has not had a mandate, stay at home, and masks and things of that nature. I go shopping, and me and my wife's the only one who wears mask. And now we're saying, okay, let's open up when the numbers in Utah County are going up like they are.
Well, and that's, I guess that's part, let me answer Sid's question. There's not really 2 weeks is just what the other 2 cities have said. We want to reevaluate, and let's look at this in 2-week increments. What the governor has said is, here's the directive, but counties can move the dial, counties can stay at red if they want to. If the county comes back and says we want to stay at red, we can. If the counties want to move it to yellow, they can. And I think to Brent's point is Utah County, all along the Wasatch Front, everybody went to stay at home except for Utah County.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if we're now starting to see the fruits of that with our numbers coming up a little bit more than everybody else. And there's, I mean, the numbers are what they are, and we just, you know, we just have to make decisions. And sometimes when there's a little bit of lack of information, there's a part of me that says, then let's just hold, because I don't know if we're getting emails from our residents, and maybe you guys are, saying, hey, we need to get the rec center open. If we do feel that there is this need to do that, then we can proceed. Because as we, at least as I've put this together, as Tyler and I have talked, there are some upsides to opening the rec center. And there would be some good things, I think, that could come of that. There's no way to eliminate all the risk. We just have to understand that there's risk when we do this. And I mean, one of the risks is getting an employee that could get this. And that's just as we start interfacing more with the public, those are just some of the consequences that we need to be aware of. Because right now, we're very, very limited in how we're interacting with the public. Police and fire, and they're the only ones to interact with them, and it's only because they have to in certain circumstances. Other than that, we're trying to keep that exposure down.
I mean, I want to make sure, like, I'm understanding the numbers. Where are we getting the numbers from Utah County? Like, where are we getting the numbers that we're going off this data? I just want to make sure I understand. I know where we're getting those.
Well, most of the numbers that I look at are on the state level, and they break it down by county. So if you go to coronavirus.utah.gov,
Okay.
you can look and see how many cases are in Utah County. If you want to look at the trends, I haven't been able to find a graph that shows the trends. And it sounds like, at least what Brent saw last night, is somebody has put together to show the trends of decreasing trends in other counties and maybe not in Utah County. I mean, I haven't seen any of the graphs like that, so I don't really know. Other than in the latest health report that the county sent out yesterday, I mean, they were showing some concerns, and the state health department's been making phone calls down to them saying, seems like you guys are actually rising a little bit more than other counties.
Hey, Scott.
So they were trying to figure out why. They didn't know if they had a hot spot. I mean, sometimes if you have a hot spot, that could really throw your numbers off because someplace got, 12 cases in one day or whatever. But Utah County, I don't think had specific answers to that.
Well, I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out, is because in order for me to make a decision, I guess I need like some numbers or something in front of me. I didn't know Utah County was going up. Like, where are we getting the data? I haven't seen.
It was on channel 13. And I'm sure if you get on there, you can look at it from yesterday.
Okay.
And the numbers were up dramatically.
Okay, like how much? Like one or like 20 people? Like, did they say specifically?
Scott.
The number, you need to look at the graph.
Okay, I'll check
Hey,
that out.
Scott.
Thanks, Brent.
Yeah.
Question, a while back, you sent us actually a graphic that where Pleasant Grove was lumped in with, I think, Linden and Vineyard.
Linden.
And then American Fork was on their own, Lehigh was on their own. I think it showed actually active cases or confirmed cases. Is that
It was
correct?
confirmed cases of coronavirus.
And so us with Linden and Vineyard was what, 38?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, American Fork was like 28 or 30.
Yeah, and that data is probably, 10 days old? I can't remember when we sent it.
So,
Yeah.
hey guys, so if you go to coronavirus.utah.gov, that's state numbers. You may want to go to that, but let me kind of switch this conversation. I don't think this conversation is about how many cases we have, how many cases we don't have, what it's doing, what's going up, what's going on. We're not going to solve it. We're not going to solve coronavirus here in our city. What we can do is we can do everything we can to protect the citizens and ensure that anything that we have already open currently or potentially are talking about opening, that we do all that we can to protect that, right? So for example, can we open up our police station? Our police station, if somebody walks into a police station, they're behind a plexiglass, I think we need to open that up. I don't think there's any risk to ourselves or our staff if somebody has a problem and needs to come to the police station. I think we need to have a conversation about how we do open certain aspects of our city, and a discussion about how we would do that. Not necessarily whether or not the coronavirus is running rampant in our city. Those are my feelings.
Yeah, well, along those lines, and to try to go back to data, we just don't have any clear-cut data in regards to Pleasant Grove and our exposure. We don't, even the data isn't clear-cut on the county level. The only thing we know on the county level for sure is how many cases are in the county.
Correct.
And so the trends, I'm sure if, again, I don't think Utah County, and maybe they probably have done their own analysis to see what the trends are. And I think to Todd's point is the virus is going to be here. And if it's trending up or trending down or whatever that means, in some ways, if we're going to open, then let's open and figure out what the precautions are and do our best. Again, my recommendation was based on the state saying we recommend that when we're under orange, that fitness centers and gyms stay closed. And so if we feel that there's a need that we need to open this, then, and Tyler's got the plan, been working on this for weeks now, 2 weeks for sure. Talked to many other cities on what this looks like when they open. We do have an ability to open if the city council says, let's get this thing open. It'll take us about a week to ramp up, but we can get open. I just want to make sure that we understand, and this was on my list here, that we will be limited on the number of people that can be in there. We will, there can't be any team or group activity, so you can't have 5-on-5 basketball. Kids can come in and shoot in the gym, or people, I say people, not necessarily kids.
Individuals.
Individuals, thank you. And then there's the cleanliness thing where, in essence, everybody becomes cleaner because we have to walk and follow people. As soon as they touch something, we have to clean it. And then there's certain other things that we can do to mitigate that. Financially, we haven't put numbers to this because I don't really know how to put numbers to this, but if we open and we're only going to cater to 50 people, I think we just have to have this consideration. Is it worth it to spend the money to get this thing open to take care of maybe 50 people or 100? I don't know how many people. I'm not sure. I was asking Tyler this morning, okay, so we open, how many people are coming? And it's just hard because we usually start slowing down at the rec center this time of year anyway. Once the weather gets nice, our numbers dwindle. And
So that's a good question. Tyler, maybe we have a conversation with you for just a minute. Do you have year over year traffic numbers? Like where were we the last week of April 2019? And I think we got to say adults, right? Not kids, but adults. And Tyler, you're on mute, by the way.
Yeah, you're still muted.
Thank you. Yeah, I was going over those numbers this morning. The numbers I can get is by total membership types, and I'm kind of looking into a little bit more to see if I can get a little more detailed. But last year, I can break it down to the hour between 5 to 6 a.m. We had 228 on a April 28th. And then it goes to 207.
Is that for the entire day?
No, this is by hour.
Okay.
So 207 from 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 175, 237 the next hour, 279. So throughout the day.
So these are people coming in, right? These are check-ins.
Yes, these are admittances, check-ins. Yep. And so that's not even counting our day passes. Those are I can figure those separate in a different report. But people purchasing day passes. And then it kind of tapers off, and Scott and I have talked about this. If we do open, maybe 5 to noon, clean the facility, open back up for 5 to 8, because during the noon hour, you go down to 67, 69, 62. And then to finish off the day at 8 and 9, you're at 95 and 49. So,
Tyler, could you
yeah.
give us, because of the rules, and we have to keep people 10 feet apart in gyms, which is more than the 6, what were the capacities on cardio room and the weight room and the CrossFit? How many
Yeah.
people could we get in
So
there?
based off our square footage in the weight room and cardio room, they're pretty similar in size. You're looking 23 to 24 people in each of those rooms. And those are the 2 that would be open. And then our gymnasiums, you have 3 gyms at 7,072 square feet. Talking to other people, that the Uinta Recreation has opened, and they said that it's just too hard in the gymnasiums to figure out that. I mean, we can go through and put dots down for the spots, 10 feet, but it's just when a family goes in there and they can be together within social distancing versus 10 feet when they're strangers or don't know each other. So there's just a couple different factors there, but we can definitely put people in the gym. And we've talked about, since they can't rent equipment out, we can't give them basketballs, pickleball equipment, maybe just having gym 3 set up as pickleball with nets, because that's a lot of people like to come in and play that. And then the basketball in gym 2, and maybe gym 1 when we get to the point that we can have group fitness classes, so they can spread out more in there. And so just a couple of things we've been thinking about. Does that help you on the numbers, Todd? Or
It does, yeah. Do you know how many of those were season pass holders versus walk-in? Or
those numbers I gave you are all based off of season pass holders. And so the like I say, the day passes, I can bring those up, that when people purchase a day pass for the day.
and that would be in addition to the 270 or whatever.
Yeah, so if we assume at any given time, at this same time period, we're having 200, 300 people coming in per hour. What we're now saying is that our capacity is about 50 people when you add cardio and weight room together. Is that right, Tyler?
Yeah.
And then the gym space is probably something we just have to decide what we're comfortable with. And we could say we can have 10 people per gym or whatever. Because one of the issues with social distancing is if you're with your family, you don't need a social distance. If you're with strangers, you do. And there's no way we're going to know who's family and who's strangers. And so it's some of these logistics, as we talk through them, they just get a little funny, and we try to figure out ways to mitigate it. And ultimately, when it comes to a gym, it's going to be really hard for us to regulate social distancing, just like a swim pool. Either we just have to say we're going to deal with it and put up with it, or we're just going to need to say, all right, maybe we just don't have our gyms open. So there's ways that we can do all of this. There's ways that we can mitigate our risk. And so we're just, I have cleaning supplies on here. We've done, as we've looked at that, we feel like we actually have more cleaning supplies to probably get us through a month to 6 weeks if we don't get any new shipments. So we feel pretty comfortable on the cleaning supply situation that we'll be okay there. We do need to get employees back to work, and there's a slight challenge there with an understanding that any employee that's been furloughed right now is getting a check from the federal government for $600 a week, which is probably double what they're making from us when we pay them. And so we do have some employees that are a little hesitant to come back to work because they take a pay cut. Now, the federal government dollars go until July 31st. And so, and there's ways to mitigate that. Tyler and I have talked through that. I think we do have enough employees that are okay just to come back. But there are, that's just one of the things that a little bit of an unintended consequence of trying to help people through a tough time. Some of these people are a little bit disincentivized to hop right back into work. But we do feel we can get enough staff to get opened if we need to. So ultimately, we just need to turn to you as a council and give us a direction on what you want to do, and then we'll carry that out. And and really what we have is wait 2 weeks and reevaluate, similar to what AF and Lehigh are doing. Open as soon as you can, which would probably be like a week from now. or in some cases, wait till the governor changes it to yellow, which is unknown. That could be 2 weeks, that could be a month, that could be 2 months. We don't know when we're going to go orange to yellow. That's all going to depend on the numbers statewide on whether this virus is going to start ramping up a little bit because we're going to have more contact.
So Scott, so we've got rec center, library, city hall, police station, fire station.
Yeah, well, let me, if I can walk through, so City Hall, we're compiling information on other cities. Even on Orange, most cities are going to keep their city halls by appointment only, like what we're doing. We have found that a large majority of the people that need to do business with us, they can take care of it over the phone, and they can drop off a payment. We have had a handful of people for City Hall, usually a notary. People need a notary. That's probably been most of the business where we've had people come in.
I've been there twice for notary.
Yep. And so, and again, that's our call. I mean, just with the understanding that once we open the doors, we do put a little more risk on our employees. And if we all understand that, that's fine. If we can keep our level of service on a high level and still do by appointment only, that would be my preference, is that we continue to operate that way. Again, as we've been polling other cities, a lot of them are waiting to go to yellow before maybe they open those up. There are a couple cities that are going to be opening their doors here, but a large majority are going to keep the by appointment only in the near future.
Do you know what cities are opening up?
Yeah, let me pull up my spreadsheet.
Can you take that other one off the screen?
Oh, yeah. You want to see, I'll show you what we got. The spreadsheet's a Google Doc that somebody created, and it's a little bit hard to read, but it does have some great information. Okay, you guys can probably see that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's, what do we have? 28, 27 cities. And so what constraints are you opening City Hall? So by appointment only during orange phase, by appointment only. Most are going to stay by appointment only. Clearfield said they never closed. I don't know, most are staying by appointment only. And then we asked about reopening library, and we've a little bit of a different answers. Most cities don't have a library. Some cities, the counties run the library. In Utah County, we don't have a countywide library system. The ones in Utah County, Spanish Fork is still deciding. Saratoga Springs is going to continue their drive-up service. American Fork's going to continue their drive-up service. Because I think for libraries, for the most part, we can generate a pretty decent level of service to accommodate our public and still somewhat limit the interaction. And then we asked about rec centers and indoor pools, and a lot don't have rec centers, and some are still evaluating. They're in the same phase we are, in essence, is we kind of want just a little bit more information, and really kind of looking for more guidance from the state. And
Scott,
And
is
then-
anybody checking temperatures with those thermometer read? Like
Yeah.
you check in and then they scan your forehead?
I think if we open, we're required to take temperatures of our employees when they come in. So some are doing that for the employees, and some might be doing that for the patrons.
Okay.
And scanning for a fever is one thing. That's not the end all when it comes to the virus. There's some people that are asymptomatic. There are people that don't have all the symptoms. Fever seems to be one that is one of the most prevalent. And so that's probably one of the best markers to try to figure out if somebody could potentially have it. And so then when I talked outdoor pools, looks like Brigham City's June 15th, Linden's June 1st. And we can talk pools in a minute because it's a little bit of a different animal. And then
Hey,
they're asking about PP&E and, can you get, everybody's struggling to get hand sanitizer, things like that. Some are okay. And then they,
Hey, Kyla, really quick, someone is saying that the sound is cutting in and out of the meeting. So I don't know if we just all need to speak or turn up our volume on our individual computers, or that's something Kyler can do. Just got that feedback.
I'll check into that, Sid. Thank you.
Okay.
Good
And
night.
everyone else, just make sure your volume's up as well.
Okay, council, I'd like to just go down, let's start with Eric, and we're talking about the rec center here.
Hey, Mayor, one thing before you get into that, this is
Yeah.
Tyler. I apologize for this, but this will help out better on the numbers. It pulled up a 3-day scenario, so I apologize. So can I give you the numbers with just the day scenario so you guys have it better?
Yeah, that'd
So-
be great. Thanks.
Sorry about that. So for April 29th last year, 5 a.m. was 101. And then it goes 69, 63, 72, 104, 43, and 26. And then it kind of dies down to the 29, 33. And then it runs back up 66, 60, 70, 23. And then I looked up our daily pass sales report, and there was a total of 67. That includes track, daily senior, daily adult, daily youth, and senior track. So
Okay.
I
So
apologize for
that's
that.
okay. So that 200 something number, that like the 230, that was over a 3-day period.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
So,
This time of year last year.
Yeah, I pulled up the weekend. My bad. So
Okay.
No, I was actually impressed, Tyler. I thought, holy cow, there's a lot of people at 5 a.m. going into the rec center.
I knew we were killing it, and it was going really
Jeez, I'm-
well. But
I was like,
Yeah.
how are we gonna limit? How are we gonna go from that to 20? All right, well, thank
as soon as
you.
I started saying those, I'm like, man, we're really killing this thing. But I apologize for that.
No, thanks for clarifying.
Okay. Eric, let's your opinion on what you want to do for the next 2 weeks here.
Let me give you can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm gonna give you just my non-political view here, common sense. I think over the last 2 or 3 months, we've let the media drive some of our common sense, right? We've let them affect our thinking and how we view and how we operate things. You look at the business side of things, they've done a tremendous job of with the hand they've been dealt and how they've been dealing with it. Whether you go wait in line at Home Depot or you go do a curbside pickup, our businesses have done a great job in showing us how we could potentially move forward because they've been already doing it all along. Our blue collar workers are out there every day working, keeping the economy going. So I guess I get frustrated because ever since we're born and we grow up, we come in contact with some pretty nasty things, right? And our immunities become stronger for that. And we've all seen some videos out there where some ER doctors are talking and trying to throw some common sense at us. They're saying we're taking perfectly fine people with perfectly fine immune systems and hiding them away in their homes. And then we're going to pick a random date and say, come on out. Everything is what we deem as perfect, with their immune systems now maybe not being as strong as they once were. And so I think we have to take into account a little bit about how we're proceeding and how we've been influenced and how we're moving forward. I would love to see our rec center open up, our pool with all this caution in place, right? It just, again, I get frustrated when I see certain things on news media and how the news portrays things. And I would hope that we take time to do our own research and look into these things. I think we've become so socially pressured as cities and governments that we have to look at other cities and see, wow, let's wait and see how they do something. Or, you know what, majority of the cities have moved down this path, so we better move down this path. And we've gotten into this thing where we've taken away our own common sense of what's good for our city. And I just hope that we think about those things as we move forward, because our business community is already moving forward. I mean, they're going, whether we like it or not, they're going to move forward. And and we need to be stronger for it. And that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Sid, why don't you, give you a few minutes here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in line with Eric. I would like to find ways we can make it work for the public instead of finding reasons not to. I know that's going to be a challenge. I also want to keep our employees safe, keep the public safe, follow the governor's directive, but like to be creative and find ways that we can make this work. It's like I said, going to be a challenge, but any way we can start getting some normalcy back into our community would be what I'm in favor of. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but I'd like to move in that direction.
Okay. Grant?
Well, I don't feel like I'm being driven by the media as much as I've been driven by those experts who tell us the dangers, and anybody who has had friends who've gone through this. I was speaking with somebody the other day who had one of their children go through this, and they said, this is not a normal disease. This is not the flu. These are killer things. And so I guess my position would be is I think I would opt to wait a couple of weeks, see what happens. Let's look at the numbers in Utah County to see whether they continue to go up or go down. And that's my 2 cents worth.
Okay. Thank you. Diana?
And I'm, well, I want to keep the employees safe. I also don't know that this is a drop dead, by this minute open conversation. I think right now we're in that, let's do what we can to keep everybody safe. Let's be smart about this. Let's let the directors open with the rules that they need to, and follow the health department guidelines, but also maybe even some guidelines specifically that they feel are necessary. So I'm open even to maybe taking that list of, here's what we have to, but maybe here's some other things that we feel like we can do to keep safe. Having an ample supply of cleaning is very important. The fact that we've got a month of that, maybe even 6 weeks, makes me think that we can keep up with demand of what's going to happen when everybody needs all of those products. So keep the employees safe. I don't think that this is a, hey, let's look for May 4th, let's look for May 15th, whatever that is. I think we can still be evaluating it as we see other numbers come in. But I also know that we have some smart residents that if they're compromised or if they have somebody in their house that's compromised, they're not going to go out. But we have other people who are healthy, who want to stay healthy, who are season pass holders. And I think that's another thing that we need to do is probably just limit this to pass holders and residents. And, do a fever check when they come in. Let's also give the residents the option of, yep, I'm healthy, my family's healthy, we want to go to the rec center or we want to go to the park. So that's where I'm at.
Okay. Well, Todd?
This is a really difficult decision with a lot of ramifications and potential liabilities for ourselves, for our employees, and for the citizens. I've reviewed the numbers here on the website, and Utah County's got about a third of the cases of Salt Lake County. We've got about a third of the hospitalizations, and about a third of the deaths of Salt Lake County. I believe that this is not going to go away. I would probably predict that these similar cases that are on the books it'll continue for probably the next 2 months, 60 days, I would guess. And so you have to ask yourself, how do we open, or do we just stay closed, right? I mean, do we just continue to hold up in our homes? And I don't believe, I believe that if I can go to the Home Depot or go to the grocery store and stay 6 feet apart, I can also walk the track and stay 6 feet apart, or I can go work in a cardio. So then you have to ask yourself, all right, well, how do we maintain an operational function that allows us to clean the machines and keep our employees safe? And Scott, I don't know the answer to that, and I don't think anybody on the call, except maybe Tyler and Brett. But I think what we have to do is we have to look at our whole opportunities and say, what do we as a council feel we can open if we're gonna be in this 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever, with these numbers just bouncing, bouncing. I don't think we should look at this as, do we wait 2 weeks and then make a decision? And then in 2 weeks, wait 2 weeks and make a decision. I think we need to take a leadership approach and say, what can we open and still maintain a level of safety and do that? And then in 2 weeks, okay, what else can we open? Now what can we open, right? And so in regards to the rec center, I'd love to leave it to Tyler and to Brett to say, what can we do? What can we do? Maybe it's let 20 people in the rec center. Maybe that's all we can do. And if it's just 20, all right, let's just open it up for 20. Now there's an operational cost. I get that. And so I would like to just figure out what we can do and then go from there. Take these baby steps, because I'm of a firm belief that we shut down awfully quick, and we're going to have to make baby steps to reopen. Those are my thoughts.
All right. Well, I'm reading it, let's take a look at the next 2 weeks, and Tyler, let's go by your recommendation and staff and just see what we can do. It kind of concerns me that we're going to get, if they're getting a pretty good payment now, like I say, they're not going to be too happy to come back and work for what they're doing, but you say they'll be there. But so I'm still getting mixed feelings here, but should we just go forward and see what the next week bring and recommendations, and open things up a little bit at a time here?
Like, Mayor, do you mean between now and 2 weeks, like we start immediately with Tyler and Sherry and whoever, giving us kind of a game plan with baby steps, as Todd said, and then, or do you want to wait the 2 weeks and then evaluate?
Well, no, I say we start looking at it here this 2 new weeks, because we just can't wait. Says, okay, let's look at it now. So we're really not ready to open up tomorrow, but let's take a look and see what we can. And I would really like it where we kind of share resources with the other cities and see how they're doing it, and let somebody else like Provo open up and just see how that goes with them for their first week, and then we can learn by. So we're not the guinea pigs, or all of a sudden we become a hot spot there. And one of the concerns is our employees. So it's that we don't get them affected by opening too quick.
So I'm getting some questions from residents about, the pool, rec center. Is there a statement we can put out today? And if so, what would that statement be? So we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I think we just got to see, we're just going to cautiously go into this, and when we can open something up that we feel like we do so. I don't think we can put a time table on it, right?
Can I suggest?
Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
Let me suggest a course of action. We've already done most of the legwork to open up. I mean, we understand, the protocols, a lot of things, that we have a plan, I guess is what I'm saying. We have a plan to open. There are a couple logistics. We're waiting on some of these cough guards that we've ordered to protect employees. Those are coming in sometime next week. And then we have to work on getting the employees back. That's going to take a little time. But I think by Monday, we could probably, well, I need to, let Tyler and I talk this afternoon. And then we can come back and say, by this day, we can give you a plan on a day to open. So I'm hoping by Monday we can turn to you and say, okay, we've talked to the employees. We know this when the cough guards are coming in. We think we can be open by this day. And then we'll, which it could be, if I guess I need to be careful. Could be a week from now. We'll get that information to you, and then we can work towards that. Because we will look at, similar to what you guys have talked about, is maybe opening even a little bit smaller than maybe what we talked about. Because I like the idea, if we're going to open, maybe we're going to allow 30 people in, and we're just going to start with 30. And if we get good and comfortable and we can keep up with the cleaning, then maybe 3 days later we can go to 50 or whatever. We can almost do this incrementally.
Yep,
and
good.
Then we can play it by ear a little bit, so that
Well,
we don't get overwhelmed.
The one beauty with that, Scott, is that also lets Tyler amp up his staff. So,
Yes.
okay.
Now,
What
a couple things, if we do it in this manner, we will have some guardrails. So one of the things is if we do open, we're recommending no 18 and older. If we,
You mean only 18 and older?
yeah, 18 and old, yes. So,
Why would that be, Scott?
because I think we have so many parents, moms that are so tired of their kids, they're just going to drop them off at the rec center and we're going to become babysitters. So I think if we're going to do this, at least to start, again, we can always expand this.
I think that's smart.
I think we need to start with just kind of adults, 18 and older.
I like that.
And because we just can't, if you've been in the rec center during the summer, we are a de facto daycare in some ways. And we have kids running all over the place. And when we're going to have to clean up every little thing and disinfect every little thing, we feel a little better about just kind of having a little bit older of a crowd. So that's,
Scott,
yeah.
Scott, why don't you just post Monday? Why don't we just put this on the agenda for Tuesday?
Tuesday. Exactly. That's where I was going.
Okay.
Tuesday anyway, let's, and then have the information to us, and you as a council can, we'll make a motion and move forward with it. Is that all
That's
right?
an excellent idea.
Is there something that we can get out? Because everyone's hearing that things are opening May 1st. They're wondering, we have questions about the pool. Now, we don't have to give details, but is there something to say, we'll be making decisions next week? Like, is there something, because people know that things are starting to open May 1st, and we're starting to get a lot of questions, and I think we need to address that as where we're heading. So what can we put out today that would let the public know where we're heading? We don't have to give specifics, but just that we've had the discussion. And what about the pool? Is that, I mean, people are hearing rumors it's completely shut down for the season. How can we address those rumors and let them know that this is on our priority list? Because the governor's given direction that we're opening, like things are opening May 1st. So I think people are anxious about that. So how can we help them?
Yeah, let me address swim pools real quick, and then we'll circle back to that answer, Sid. So on the swim pools, really what I've already discussed is the major issue is we would have 350 people in a confined space. And if the state health department and the county health department says that's okay, then our assumption is we'll move forward and open the pool, unless the council says otherwise. That would be at 50% capacity, and that would be right around June 1st would be our target date.
And my thoughts on that, Scott, is I think we need to work. I think we need to phase into that just like we would the rec center. But I don't think we can make that decision today. I think if I were to leave it up to Tyler to say, hey, Tyler, let's shoot for a June 1st. We're going to tell the public we want to open up the pool. However, we're limited on our knowledge of how that's going to look June 1st. And so if we shoot for June 1st, maybe we can only open it up for 150 people on June 1st. But let's make that decision in 3 weeks.
Yeah, what's going to happen is I think we've been begging the state and the county for more information the last 14 days. I think we're going to get that here in the next 7 days. for us, what we would like to do is we would like to proceed as if we're going to open, because we got to start training lifeguards and that type of thing. So if you're okay with that, we'll turn Brett loose and say, okay, let's start getting our lifeguards trained with the assumption that we're shooting for June 1st to open, which is a Monday. We'll shoot for that day to open. And then really, unless the state or the county comes out in 7 days and says, under orange, you can't open a pool, lap swimming only, or whatever the guidelines they're going to give us, then we can kind of change what our thinking is. But I think we need to proceed as if we can open at half capacity on June 1st. And if we look through the logistics and we feel like we need to open at 25% capacity for whatever reason, or if the state dictates that, or the county, then we can adjust our plans.
Okay, so I think that's
we'd
where the
like to
message.
move forward.
We need to get to
Sorry,
the public, because right now we're moving forward. We're gonna keep an eye on it. The pool right now is not officially closed, but we're monitoring that daily. I mean, because if the rumors the pool is closed, that's a problem. So we need to redirect that conversation. Be positive. We're working on it. We know we're training, whatever it is. And then also regarding the rec and library, either we're gonna stay closed or we're baby steps, and maybe that's not gonna be decided till next Tuesday. We just need something to get out to the public today so they know, because this May 1st has been looming now for about a week, and people are just, but not specifics, not anything, just
I don't
let them
think
know
we-
we're having discussion.
Oh,
Let's wait until after our meeting instead. We don't need something today, okay? I mean, everybody knows that we can put out what we're, in the next 2 weeks, trying to open our rec center. And by the end of the month, the 1st of May, we want to open the pool, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, I don't think we do specifics. We're just getting questions from the public because they know the governor's directive on May 1st. So just something that says we're having the discussion, we're moving forward. It's just, the public just is curious and I think anxious about it.
Yeah.
Where's this coming from, Sid?
The public,
I've
the
had-
community.
I've had one person call me, and it was about secondary water. Are this all directed toward to you?
Yeah, I'm getting questions from the community. I mean, people wanted to jump on the YouTube channel today. They're curious about what we're doing with the rec center, the pool. I've heard several people say, I just got a text while we're talking about, is the pool closed? That's what I'm hearing. So I'm just trying to I want us all to be on the same page. So when we answer these questions, and usually when there's one person asking, there's more people, interested about it. So I don't think we give specifics, but I just want to make sure that we're responding to them. And I just want to give the right response.
I think there's a way, go ahead, Brent. Did you?
No, go ahead.
There's a way for us to send something out, because I think, to Sid's point, the governor has said gyms can open up on May 1st.
But then he went on ahead and said it's really up to the counties and cities.
Yes.
And that's why they're asking, is because they don't know what we're doing.
But I think it's simple enough. We could write up a pretty simple statement that would essentially say, we are still in evaluation on the opening of our rec center and our swim pool. As soon as we get more information, part of this is depending on what the state and county health department is going to direct us. As we get more information and we are prepared to open these facilities, we will keep you up to date as soon as we make those decisions.
Yeah, that'd
Something
be
like
great.
that.
Yeah.
It can be a fairly simple statement. So I'll throw something together on that this afternoon, and Sid, you and I can touch base on that a little
Yeah,
bit.
that'd be great.
And get something out there. So
All right, let's go that direction. Hey, Scott, are we going to where the Orange goes to 20 people meeting? Are we going to meet as a group Tuesday night?
That's a great question. And that's really up to you guys. All that means is we're allowed to have 20 people in our council chambers. We are still asked to social distance. So if we did and wanted mayor and council in there, we would spread you out like we did the last time we met in there. And then we would have a couple, I can't see what you're writing there, Eric. Oh, you're on mute, Eric. I can't hear you.
I say, yes, let's meet together.
Okay, and what we can do is we can if we can have 20 people, so if we have you guys at 6, if we have Kyler in there 7, Kathy 8, and then maybe the rest of the staff can continue to come in via Zoom, and then we can have, in essence, 12 chairs set up there, 6 feet apart. But in essence, you guys could have, and well, I don't know. I mean, maybe Tina and I in there. We can figure that out. But if your desire is, let's get you all in the same room again, we can accommodate that.
Yep.
I like it better when we're all in the same room.
I do too. I think we get more accomplished. Is the council okay with that? Okay,
Yes.
all right. Todd, you okay?
Yep, I'm okay with that. That sounds great.
Okay, let's plan on that then. So I guess. we'll-
4:30 on Tuesday.
We'll
Yeah.
let you know. Some of it depends on what our work session looks like, and since we're not eating dinner anymore, it might be easier just to do 5 or 5:30 and then go right into our city council meeting.
Okay,
Our city council meeting has 6 or 7 items, but most of them are fairly quick. So
We need to make sure that we all have masks and PPEs and gloves when we're there.
Oh,
Just-
not wearing them.
Just kidding, Eric.
Nope,
Eric's not going to show up.
I'll be there.
okay.
Hey,
Scott,
Scott or Mayor,
yes,
I got both of my coordinators, my sports coordinators, and I know there's a lot of questions about youth sports too on going out.
Oh,
And I wanted to let you know, we're under the orange. It does say no team sports or contact sports. And there's a lot of different baseball, like signing things to go into the governor to play ball. We've been a part of all those, and and so there's a lot of people working behind the scenes to make these sports happen. But I just wanted to let you guys know that it's hard for us to keep putting these on delay and putting people on delay, but we're trying to communicate as much as we can, and we'll come out with that too in the statement of we're going to delay these programs a little bit more if you stick with us, but we have been given refunds if they absolutely had to get out of it. So any
Okay.
more direct?
Okay.
okay. Anything else from any of the council?
Nope, that's all.
No,
Can I ask a question?
Hey, yes, you got who else has a question? Oh,
we
Sherry.
got the flyover here in 5 minutes.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
We just haven't talked about the library, so I just need to know what I'm telling my staff. I assume we'll talk about it more on Tuesday.
yes,
Yeah,
Okay.
let's, Sherry and I will put together the plan for Tuesday for you. We'll cover library, rec, swim pool, team sports, parks, playgrounds. We'll cover whatever we can there.
okay. Well,
Like Todd's already outside.
we'll be busy, so we'll have to make sure we got plenty of Pepsis and whatever there. So, hey, I appreciate all of you and your input. It's greatly appreciated. We kind of know where everybody stands, and boy, thought we would have been here this time last year. So anyway, but hey, I'm glad we're in Pleasant Grove, and so let's just go forward with it. If there's nothing else anybody wants, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'd move to move.
We have a motion by Councilmember Bullock. Do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Jensen. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, thank you.